Welcome, everybody. My name is Sean Bodnar, and we're going to take some time today to talk about how Screencastify can help plan and implement a successful professional development session for you and your staff. I see we have some people joining us. Feel free to participate in the chat or unmute at any point when you have a question today. And if you can't hear me or you need anything throughout the session, please don't hesitate. It is also really helpful if you can log into your Screencastify account. That's where we'll spend most of our time. And then I'll also put some links in our chat to kind of show us some examples of how we can use Screencastify to help us with those professional development sessions. So we'll wait another moment or two. If anybody has trouble logging into their Screencastify account or you need to download it, I've included a link in the chat here. If you have any trouble accessing that, let me know. But once again, welcome everybody. And at any point, feel free to chime in, say hello, or ask a question. Once again, thanks everybody. And we are hitting the 4 o'clock Eastern time. But like I said, we'll wait another moment or two, give everybody a chance to get logged in, and then I will formally introduce myself. All right, everybody. Once again, welcome. My name is Sean Bodnar from Screencastify. I'm one of the professional development facilitators. And this webinar is designed.
Yeah, no, I think that that's what I said. Can I put it out there creative because they're trying to slam it in
to help you learn about some features with Screencastify that can help you develop some professional development materials. I'm going to share my screen throughout the webinar, but the chat is also open. Feel free to unmute, ask any questions you would like as well. And also, as we're in our Screencastify account, feel free to kind of brainstorm. As I show you some of the features within Screencastify, think about how they could relate to your specific district. I'm going to go ahead, introduce myself, and then we can get rolling. So once again, welcome everybody. And here we go. I'm not going to spend a ton of time with the slide deck. Most of the time will be in our account. So if you can log into your Screencastify account, that is really great. And you'll be able to kind of, like I said, brainstorm some ideas of how these features can help you develop professional development. And as I formally introduce myself, as I said, my name is Sean Bodnar, and I am coming to you from the East Coast, just about an hour and a half north of Philadelphia. I'm a full-time social studies teacher at Parkland High School. But also on the screen there, you do see my email. As we go through our webinar today, and as you develop some professional development materials over the summer, do not hesitate to reach out. I'll make sure my email goes in the chat as well. But as you kind of take this journey with Screencastify, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have a question or any way I could help. And when we talk about today's training, we're going to spend an hour together here looking at the tools of Screencastify. How can they help enhance your professional development for your staff? Teaching has become, in my 21st year now, even more diverse than it was in the beginning, right? We're being pulled in a million different directions. And then sometimes with professional development, it sometimes feels like another thing is kind of being hoisted upon us. Well, with some of the features today, we hope to ease some of that angst and pressure that sometimes administrators and instructional coaches feel when they develop professional development and implement it. And also from the teacher perspective, what is the best way to actually learn something new, implement it in your classroom, and have it kind of go building wide and support the culture as well. Number two there, I do encourage you to brainstorm, create materials. As we look at some of the features, your schools and your staff really well. How could these features help you and your staff? Throughout today's session, I'll kind of use just almost a general topic for professional development. So imagine if your school was kind of tasked with creating some professional development materials to implement AI, right? So AI is this massive, massive kind of piece of technology that surrounds us outside of schools all the time. How can we kind of harness that AI software and put it into our classrooms, into the hands of our students? So you'll hear me reference that. But again, think about your own school. What would be an appropriate topic for your professional development? And that's why I kind of time this towards the end of May, right? So, teachers are kind of stressed wrapping up the year. Administrators also are being pulled in that direction. But as an administrator or instructional coach, you also have to kind of begin to think, all right, what is that broad topic? What is that major goal that we want to try to implement over the summer and introduce to our staff? When we talk about Screencastify, I'm going to go over to my extension in a moment. That is where kind of we implement and create video for our staff. So we'll meet over there in a moment. And I think what you'll see is that Screencastify has become kind of this like Swiss Army knife, not only for teachers in the classroom, but also for administrators as well. So with that being said, I am going to jump over to my extension here. And as I click on this extension, this is where all the recording happens. So once you record a message for your staff, whether it's a small instruction group or whether it's the whole faculty, what you say and what you create here through this extension is going directly to them. So it's a great opportunity to use this recording tool to reach out to your staff, get your message across, and then kind of begin to harness them in a particular direction for that professional development. One of the tools that has been really helpful that was recently launched that can help you create those messages. So if I click record here, we can see the options of the mic and the camera. We have a countdown. But first, the drawing tools are less immersive. So as you click that record button, again, the drawing tools will appear in the lower left-hand corner, but once you move your cursor off them, they are kind of less cumbersome and give that video a really professional look. But in addition to that, if I click on webcam only and notice our prompt changed at the bottom here, create script and record. As I click on this, notice we now have some AI software built right into the extension. So we could put in a video on integrating AI in the high school or secondary classroom. And as I begin to do that, I can select the length, the language, English or Spanish, and then the tone of the content here. And as I click generate script, you'll see the AI software kind of go to work. And sometimes, depending on the prompt, it takes a
Mr.
little
Bodnar,
longer.
your screen
Yeah.
is not changing. It's still stuck on the what is Screencastify slide.
Thank you so much. The only item you missed so far is the slides that I kind of introduced myself with, and I can gladly go back to those. And over here, what I'm showing here is the way to generate a teleprompter script. So I'll jump into the extension one moment, but all I did was type in a video on integrating AI in the high school classroom. I selected my length, I selected my language, and then as I mentioned, you can select your tone as well. And what this gives is a script that will appear on your screen that you could use to deliver content to your staff and your team, but it obviously would not be seen in the complete video. So once I click start recording, I would see this prompt, but on the finished end, you would not see it. So I could jump right into the prompt, welcome to our video integrating, and we could go from there. So really helpful feature. And since my screen was frozen there, let me jump over. And where I got that from. Once you click on the extension, you have the option to create a normal video here where we record, where you would supply that content. But then when you click on webcam, that's where I got that teleprompter option. So once you begin to create your content, now you have access to that AI software right away. And as I click on my extension, I'll see 3 lines here. This would take me right to my videos as you see those on the screen. So, couple things. Whenever you record something in Screencastify, it's automatically going to be saved in your Screencastify account and also in your Google Drive account as well. So you'll have access to kind of a seamless transition between those pieces of software, which is really nice. Once you make your initial recording, one of the things I do encourage is that recording is 1 minute or longer. When you, even if you're just kind of doing a sample recording while you're on mute right now, you want to make sure that recording is 1 minute or longer, because it will allow you to access all the AI software that's built into Screencastify. So whether it's access to 50 plus world languages, whether it's question generation, or whether it's a description for a video, we'll show you all that in a moment. So when we think about professional development with Screencastify, at this point, you have the ability to focus the message, the tone, and the purpose of that professional development session. So just like you saw, I typed into the teleprompter, or you could create your own message. That will set the tone in terms of delivering your professional development to your staff. Once you have that video, that's what opens up all the options in terms of a very diversified professional development experience. So as I come into my account here, you can see a couple different things. First, any video you record will show up right here, but also I see new video in the upper right-hand corner. I can record a video like we talked about, but also notice if you have some go-to content that you've delivered to your staff previously, or maybe you have a piece of a video that you would like to introduce a concept or a goal to your staff. You can upload from your device and also import right from your Google Drive. So even if you didn't record the video in Screencastify, you can import it into Screencastify and open up all those professional development options. And the first professional development option we're going to talk about here is taking a piece of video and turning it into an interactive quiz. And there's a couple different ways we can do that. There's manual generation of questions, but then there's also the ability to AI generate questions as well. So I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to grab this video here. So I mentioned we kind of have a general topic today. Let's pretend we're trying to implement AI in the classroom and introduce it to our teachers. So one of the ways we might take this piece of video, okay? And as we do that, if I go ahead and click AI Assistant, notice what happens here. We can take this piece of video and automatically add some captions and translations. So as I click on this, you can see captions are now available. And I always like to say, even if you're not going to use all the translations and all the AI features, clicking that AI Enhance button is the easiest way to add captions to that video. So as I've done that, notice what we have here. Down here is an AI generated description of the video. So as you bring supporting materials into your professional development, it might be various videos from YouTube, it might be something from your curriculum, maybe it's something personal from your district. We can, once that video is created, click that AI Enhance button and get an AI description. We can also link supporting materials as well. So now this video that we created or we imported becomes this kind of like one-stop shop for your staff. So maybe it's a how-to video, a tutorial of a new piece of software that's available to your staff. Maybe it is a new initiative that you're going to adopt for the next school year. As we work our way across in description here, comments. Teachers and your staff members can comment on the video, and you will also see the actual timestamp as well. So this creates that interactive component where maybe you're delivering a message initially to your staff, but now they have that comment feature as well. Viewers, you will be able to see exactly how many times they viewed your video, and you will be able to see obviously who viewed your video as well. And then in a moment, I'm going to come back to this tab, which is responses, and show you kind of a finished product. But the responses tab is something that allows us to collect a ton of data in a short amount of time. So let me jump over here. We've clicked AI Enhanced. Now I'm going to go in and click AI Quiz and Grading. So let me come in here. So now this is where we can actually implement questions right into our video. So maybe this is add question. This is the manual way. We can choose a multiple choice question, a short answer question, or a note. And I've seen a lot of administrators use that note feature because it allows you to reinforce important parts or important ideas, I should say, within their videos. So, for example, I was working with another school, and they are going through and getting ready for a major construction project. Screencastify was really helpful in terms of delivering video, keeping staff up to date about the schedule for the construction, which rooms are going to be affected, etc. So just by using that note feature, they were able to really keep their staff informed. Once you choose your option here, we can scrub ahead to a particular part of the video. And then at that 50-second mark, we can enter that sample question. So as you develop your materials for your staff, they can go in and complete these interactive videos to make sure that your content is getting across to your staff. Once we're happy with it, we can click Save Question. Multiple choice questions would be automatically graded. Short answer questions are also helpful, especially if you want to assess kind of like opinion of your staff members. And then I also mentioned that note feature as well. So with this manual generation of questions, it's really helpful in terms of being able to stress what's important and also getting that data that we're going to talk about in a moment. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel there for a moment. So that is the manual generation of questions. We also have the AI ability to generate questions. So down here, I'm going to pick my question type. We'll pick 3 and then grade level. And now I have the ability to generate questions. And as it's thinking of these questions, it is pulling the content from the video. So that's why I mentioned you want to make sure whenever you're communicating with your staff or you're rolling out a tutorial, you're rolling out an initiative, you want to make sure that that video is a minute or longer. It will give you access to all these AI pieces of software. So here, as we can see, we clicked AI, quiz and grading. We have multiple choice questions. We have some short answer questions, and we can add one at a time, but we can also work our way down and add all, or we could regenerate. So if I go ahead and click add all, those questions have now been added at these different points in the video, but I can also go in and edit those. So again, you're not kind of handcuffed or at the mercy of AI. You can kind of work with the AI software and then make the changes as you see fit. So that's really helpful as well. So again, if I go back for a moment, we started with a piece of video, and now we showed you how we can turn that into an interactive piece of video. Let's look at a finished example with actual responses. So I'm going to come down here and just to show you some responses and what the data tab looks like here, I am going to go ahead and let me just show you a quick preview of this one. So as I do that, you can see we have 2 questions built in. And if I scrub ahead at the minute 59 mark, we're going to go ahead and play this.
Aloha to Honolulu, Hawaii, Des Moines, Iowa, so peaceful to me.
And that question pops up. So this is more of a student example. We'll get to a professional development example in a moment, but this is what your staff would see. So as you're developing that video, that question pops up. But let's take a look at this responses tab, right? So we talked about description, comments, viewers. The responses tab is really helpful because it's an easy way to collect an opinion from your staff, knowledge from your staff, assess background knowledge on a particular topic for your staff. And right now, we are on the All Responses tab right here. I can take this data and immediately download to CSV. So maybe I want to assess what is the level of comfort for my staff with AI tools right now. I would introduce a video, put those questions into the video, and now I can get a feel for where they are in their AI journey. Within the responses tab, you could see for training purposes, I have mine on anonymous, but you would see as an administrator or instructional coach that name of your staff member. When I click viewers, I can now look at what this looks like from the perspective of each viewer. But I think, again, what is even more impactful is the ability to show from the question perspective. So now you get a piece of visual data that now in the next step of professional development, we can say, all right, let's get together and see where we're at as a staff. So maybe that initial phase is sending the video out, communicating with your staff, they answer the questions. Now in real time, you can go and show them that data. So again, the responses tab can be really impactful in terms of being able to show hard, concrete data to your staff. So far, at this point, we've talked about generating content, implementing questions, whether it's through a manual version or whether it's through the AI version. And now, one of the other things we want to show you, though, is the ability to take that video and turn it into and access 50 plus world languages, which can be helpful as well. So I'm going to jump over here, and to show you that, I'm going to grab this video here, and very similar setup to what we talked about, right? We have our description, we have our comments, viewers, responses. But if I jump into the preview here, we're going to see a couple things. So this video would go out to your staff, would go out to, in this case, we're talking about an upcoming parent-teacher night. So maybe you want the opinion from your staff on when it should be, how it should work, etc. But in addition to all the content I showed you, we also have the ability to access 50 plus world languages in terms of captions. So you see the languages, or excuse me, the captions in English there. We can click Spanish and you can see those captions change. And in addition, we also have the ability to use what is called AI voiceover. So now, not only can we reinforce our content to our staff through a particular native language, in this case Spanish, but visually with captions, and then also from an auditory perspective as well. If I jump over to transcript, notice our transcript also changed to Spanish as well. So as I go ahead and click play, you can see, whoop, it's gonna.
Buenos días a todos. Queríamos tomar unos minutos hoy para con suerte.
So now you can diversify the message and the content to your staff just with the click of a button with that AI software. And as I jump back to my account once again, let's talk about another feature that's really helpful for your staff. Let me just clean up some tabs here. So one of the items that you see up top here are the various folders that you can begin to accumulate within Screencastify. By clicking new folder, you can organize your folders how you need. But one of the really helpful features that can really kind of revolutionize how you do your professional development is the ability to share a folder, excuse me. So as I click on that share option, I can go ahead and share this folder with a particular user, and they can have access to view the videos in there or also copy. So this is a great way to diversify your content and also increase collaboration with your staff. Towards the end of the webinar, I'll kind of show you some different options that I built into a document, and one of them is a PD catalog. So as you roll out different software, different tools that are available for teachers, they can actually work back and forth. So maybe you're going to have your social studies teachers work together, your math teachers, science teachers. Now they can begin to share resources back and forth by creating their content within Screencastify. So the sharing folder leads to a number of options for professional development, whether it's collaboration over a piece of curriculum, a piece of software, etc. And while we're on this topic of generating video content, I do want to mention one area to search as an administrator is if you have access to the premium library. The premium library gives you the ability to search really any YouTube for education video, and you can then grab that video and it's already canned, ready to go, and you can generate your own questions. So I always, as you begin to pick your professional development initiatives, it's a good spot to look. Excuse me. Once you look in the premium library, like I said, you'll see filters on the right-hand side. So we could do high school, or we could do higher ed, maybe for staff. And maybe we want to look at a particular piece of technology, and we could hit apply. And then as you do that, you can see teaching and learning in higher education, AI in education. These are canned videos that are ready to go. And as we select one, we can go ahead and implement our AI assistant and our AI quiz and grading. So really helpful feature there for some quick access to video. So that is our premium library as well. Let me come back here for a moment. And I just want to take a moment as I jump over to the chat. Okay, I think we cleaned up the screen there. I am going to share a document with you that can be really helpful in terms of accessing different ideas for professional development. So let me grab this here. I'm going to copy this. And in the chat section is a link to a document that I think could be really helpful in terms of generating some ideas for professional development with Screencastify. Feel free to make a copy of it, make it your own. But as I share my screen and go into some of the new features, let me jump over here. And as we look at this document, there's a couple things to notice. We talked about the accessibility and flexibility of Screencastify, right? So at this point, we looked at that, at the asynchronous learning aspect, the self-paced learning aspect of Screencastify. So we could do an interactive video quiz. And I've in parentheses there, I put pre and post analysis. This is really helpful. Make sure I'm sharing one more time. Okay. This is really helpful because we have the ability to kind of pre and post assess our staff on a particular topic. I'm just not seeing my share. Hang on one second. There we go. Sorry about that, everybody. And as we do that, we could determine what the level of comfort is with our staff before professional development, and then we can assess how that level of comfort has changed after professional development. We talked about the manual and the AI generated questions. And then in terms of ideas, I think the PD catalog is a great way to begin to assess your staff. So here's an example of what might go in that PD catalog. So like we talked about, here's our transforming teaching practice professional development video. We have our multiple choice and short answer questions. We have our description in there. And then also notice when you send video out to your staff that they have that option of watch later, and that will automatically put it in a separate folder for them so they can view it when they have time. So I'd like to mention that feature as well. And as we come back here, as we scroll down, now let's talk about enhanced engagement, right? So maybe we are working on a full session with our staff where we're all going to be in one room together. Maybe we're going to design tutorials, small, you'll see lunch and learn examples or peer-to-peer reviews. So let's talk about how we can do that. The first feature that I think is most helpful in Screencastify when you're going to approach professional development that way is through what's called the submit assignment. So I'm going to jump over to my account and let me just kind of clean up here for a moment. As I jump over to my account, we talked about your videos. There's that watch later option I mentioned, the shared with me. So that gives you the ability to share content with your colleagues, the premium library. But now we're going to jump down to assessments. And with assessments, Screencastify has kind of really streamlined everything where you can create that interactive video, but now you have options on how you would like to use it. So for example, I have this quiz feature, which we talked about, right? Those are all the videos that we have created that we've used interactive questions with. But let's say you're in one big room, you have a couple hundred staff members in a room. Maybe you have a certain team in a room. You also have the option of what is called live learning. Live learning gives you the ability to host a particular quiz right in one room. So this code would come up on the screen, and as we grab that code, your staff can click on this link, enter that code, and now they're going to be able to go through that interactive quiz together. So as we start this live learning experience, they would go through and answer these questions. And let me just kind of scrub ahead. The question pops up, time to answer the question. I'm just going to grab a response. All right. And now you can see there's a score, and it becomes this live learning experience for the whole staff. So again, think about a big auditorium setting. Think about being able to maybe check on the progress of a particular topic. That live learning option could be something that's really fun and helpful for your staff. So that's one assessment option. I also have that linked in the document for you. Another option that is very helpful is submit. So we talked about live learning. We talked about the quiz feature. Here's the submit feature. The submit feature allows you and your staff to communicate back and forth through video. So I'm going to first build one from scratch, and then we'll kind of talk about some professional development examples. In a classroom setting, this is a way to get feedback from your students. The only difference in our professional development setting is that you're going to get that feedback from your staff. So as I click new submit assignment, this is the kind of epitome of the flexibility of Screencastify. This could be anything. So this could be a suggestion for our next professional development topic. This could be an end of the year check-in. But this is the way, as an administrator or as an instructional coach, you can go to your team and say, hey, let's get some feedback on what we feel worked and didn't work on a particular topic. So as you put that topic in there, you then have the ability to add your instructions, but what is most helpful, you can add those hyperlinks. So maybe you have some data that you would like to incorporate. Maybe there's an article that you would want your staff to read. This is where you can incorporate that. And then as you scroll down, you have the ability to use screen and webcam. So maybe you want your staff pointing out a particular example to you. Maybe it's just kind of an emotional check-in, right? So it's not research-based. You just want to hear from them on a particular opinion, or you might do screen recording only. So you have some flexibility there. Once you have your settings, we can generate a link. And in this webinar, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on integration, but just one quick note, Screencastify will integrate really with any learning management system. So whether it's Google Classroom, Schoology, it's really flexible. We're not spending a ton of time there, but if you have any questions on that, certainly don't hesitate. So we're going to generate a link there, send that out to our staff, anyone with the link or anyone in my domain. And then This is something that you want to use your discretion on as an administrator. So students cannot view any videos. Students can view their own videos. Students can view all videos. So again, you know, we're dealing with staff here. So what do you want them to be able to do? So if this is something strictly maybe between an administrator and a particular teacher, they can maybe only view their own. If you want some peer-to-peer collaboration and commenting back and forth on videos, then students can view all videos. So that's something to keep in mind. Recording limit could be anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes or unlimited. And then we can also choose ungraded there. So with the submit feature, we have a ton of ability here to assess not only kind of like the emotional temperature, if you will, of the building, but we can also assess instructional components as well. And as I come back here, so we talked about the live learning experience. I've linked that there for you, but let's take a look at our peer-to-peer review here. So now as this comes up, this is what your submit assignment would look like. So we have this professional inquiry group. The professional inquiry group format uses a variety of resources. So this might be something where, you know, teachers and staff members might use this throughout a school year. So they're going to pick a piece of research, a book, or you might link that here and provide that for your staff. And then everybody kind of comments on that one piece of material. You could see I included like a sample amount of hours they might get for completing this professional development. We're going to go screen and webcam because we want to see them, and we also want to see their research, and the recording time is unlimited. They would go ahead, hit start recording, and your professional development is off and running. So once again, with that peer-to-peer review, really easy way to use that submit feature. It's a real personalized experience, just like it says, and it's that visual as well. Another option would be that how-to tutorial, if you will. So maybe if you want to communicate a particular piece of AI software, or maybe you want to communicate a different part of the curriculum, those how-to tutorials can be really helpful. I'm going to jump back to my account here and show you what this looks like with a finished product. So as I'm in my submit feature here, and let's just grab one with some responses. So here's like a back to school reflection, right? So maybe you want to ask your teachers how they feel about the upcoming school year, etc. So here's our submit assignment. And then here are the responses from your staff. You would simply click on one, see the video pop up.
Hi, I'm Rupal Dadania. I teach 6th grade. I'm really excited for the new social studies curriculum. One thing I'm a little bit nervous about is how we're going to be able to track students.
So really seamless in terms of being able to communicate a particular initiative to your staff. So the submit feature, again, really, really flexible. I'm going to jump over and show you one more example here. And this is the lunch and learn example. So as I click on this one, lunch and learns can be really successful because it, one, gives teachers some flexibility when they can sign up. So I just put an example here. Let's do a lunch and learn on September 5th during periods 4, 5, and 6. Come do a deep dive with new AI tools available for the school year. So this is something that allows your staff to kind of work something into their own schedule. And in terms of Screencastify, there are a number of ways you can use the lunch and learn aspect here. So presenters can use the live learning feature. So you have your video created, you've integrated some questions into that video, everybody's in the same room, and you can conduct that live learning experience that we took a look at. Participants can use the submit feature as well. So you can show how to incorporate maybe new tools in their classroom. They can comment back and forth. And then finally, participants can build a portfolio of best use scenarios to share with their colleagues. So that goes back to the sharing of the folder idea and the ability to kind of interact and share content back and forth. So the lunch and learn idea can be a really helpful tool for not only getting professional development across in a small setting, but making it really impactful as teachers eat their lunch. So when we look at point number 2 here, enhanced engagement. So the visual learning aspect of whether it's a live learning, a peer-to-peer review, or really that personalized experience where trainers can incorporate their webcam footage for a more personal and interactive feel. As we work our way down the document as well, when we talk about cost effectiveness, right? I think that is something that is on the top of every school district's list right now. Well, with Screencastify, obviously there's going to be a reduced travel cost. It's going to eliminate the need for in-person training all the time. The scalability factor, though, is really great. So, in other words, at my school, in terms of a district level, you're dealing with thousands of teachers, right? You're dealing with a high school staff, 350 to 400. Well, that scalability can be broken up by department. That could be a full group being addressed within an auditorium. And with Screencastify, you can vary that mode of communication, which is really nice. Replayable content as well. So if we roll out an AI initiative like we've been talking about, right? How do we know that this information is actually being communicated to our staff? Well, I've linked here a page where it says analytics, watch analytics, and viewer analytics, excuse me. So this is really nice. As you begin to use your Screencastify content, you will begin to see exactly who's watching the video, how long they're watching the video, and getting that feedback in terms of, is our message getting across to our staff? So as you do that and share that out, I think it's really helpful to kind of go back in to those videos and look at those analytics. And how many views are we getting? Is our message getting across to our staff? So I think this is a really helpful tool as well. Again, communicating with our staff that way. And then as we work our way down, one more time here, we mentioned the sharing of folders. This by far has been one of the most impactful ways to allow teachers to collaborate. So no longer do we have to kind of all get in one room, all go through content together, and then break apart. We can send out video, we can send out some training tools, and then let teachers use those in the classroom with the students, and then actually provide lesson demonstrations. In terms of lesson demonstrations, whether, again, I mentioned that lunch and learn model, but you can model effective lesson delivery, and it's really helpful if it's coming from teacher to teacher. It doesn't always have to be administrator to teacher. So when we think about the collaboration aspect, the feedback aspect of Screencastify, it can really be impactful. And then one more item here before we kind of come back and see if there are any questions. I want to jump back to my Screencastify account and take a moment and just talk about how to actually share content with your staff. So on the left-hand side here, we talked about my videos. We talked about the watch later option, the shared with me option when a folder is shared with you, the premium library, and then the various assessments. As you begin to create your videos and spend some more time there, I'm not going to take the time to go into the editing tool right now, but that does give you the ability to really provide zoom and provide blurs on a screen and type onto a screen. So the editing tool is there. The one thing I would like to mention, though, with Screencastify, sometime over the summer here, you will see a reboot, so to speak, of that editing tool, where that will receive the AI software as well. So with the click of a button, you can kind of clean your videos up by getting rid of quiet space, getting rid of repeated words, etc. So please look for that option as well in our editing tool. And then I mentioned sharing a video. So when we share a video, so I'm just going to click on this one. Notice we have our privacy settings. Anyone with the link, we can view or track by email address, anonymously, or by name. So again, that's that viewer analytics that we talked about. And then we also have these share options here. We talked about the host live, but if we copy this share link, we can take that, put it right into our email, send that out to our staff. We can take that link, put it right into Google Classroom, if applicable, or Schoology. So sharing right from your video is really helpful. One last item about sharing, then I'm going to come back to the Zoom. Notice down here, we do have the option to export video, but notice what our export options say there. Export options don't include video features. Share your video using the share video link to enable video quizzes, viewer analytics, translated captions, comments, AI features, and more. So when you're communicating with your staff and you're creating those interactive videos, you want to stick to the share link up top. The export is literally just exporting a file, which may be necessary in some cases, but in terms of having the full bells and whistles, so to speak, of that professional development, you want to stick to that share link. Okay. And let me come back here and grab a few items. So I'm going to go ahead and stop share. And while we have a few minutes, I wanted to leave a few minutes for any questions. So as I grab a few links that could be helpful to you, please feel free to unmute or feel free to type a question into the chat as well. Audrey, I am just seeing your question right now. Sorry, can you go back? That was at the beginning. All right, that was probably the extension. If you're still confused on that, let me know. And let me grab a few links for you. So the first link that I'm putting in the chat is a brief survey. So please take a look at that. Let me know what you think in terms of professional development in Screencastify. We have a few questions coming through. Can you show where to find the option to have the AI generated narration? Sure. Brita, when you have a video, and let me come back to Screencastify for a moment here. When you have a video, you're going to go ahead and click AI Enhanced, all right? And that will automatically include captions and voiceover. And then if you go to Preview, you will see that AI narration right next to captions. So there's captions and translations. I click on English. These are the various languages. One thing I should have mentioned, you can kind of, you see all those green check marks? That means I've accessed those languages. So all of these are available, not just the ones with the green check mark. And then next to it is the AI voiceover. I click on that AI voiceover, and now I have access to these languages as well. And a couple other ones here. For live learning, is multiple choice the only option? No, multiple live learning. You can also use that short answer feature as well. And then one of the options that you have now is when you generate AI generate short answer questions, you could put a sample response in there and it can be graded as well. So for live learning, you can have both types of questions in there. Other questions at the moment? I think you showed something that had your script with the tone at the beginning of the yes. Brita, great question. Let's go back to that. I apologize. I have so many tabs open sometimes. So let me go ahead and let's do this. We're going to do entire screen. Okay. And here we go. So as we click on the extension, in order to get to that AI generated script, we can click webcam only. Can't see it still. My sharing capabilities are not up to snuff here. Let's try this one. Let's do the webinar page. Okay, let's try this, everybody. So now in our extension, this is the initial part that comes up. So you're going to be on the regular recording. Okay, so if I click record, I would just start talking. But if I click on webcam, notice the prompt changes and it says create script and record. And if I click on that, you can type in a topic for your video. You can adjust the length of that video. The language is currently English or Spanish, and then tone. You can do casual, energetic, inspirational, instructional, or professional. Okay. And then, like I said, the only warning I want to give you there, I think it will pop up a video. Yes, at least 50 characters are required. So you want to make sure you put enough info in there so that AI generation can occur. Still can't see it. Oh my goodness. Let's go one more time here. Here we go. It is the end of the school year. Can you tell here? All right. We have our extension once again. Okay. And then here is our general tab. I'm going to click webcam only. And there we go. We type in our video topic right there. And as I mentioned, it has to be 50 characters or more. You can select your length. We have English or Spanish. And then we have our tone, casual, energetic, inspirational, instructional. And then you also have the ability to edit as well once that is created. Did everybody see that one? All right. Thank you, Sarah. We did it. We did it. The handout. I'm glad somebody did mention that. This is a really helpful tool that it's a one-page shot here that will really walk you through what you need in terms of generating some ideas of how you can use Screencastify. So again, please make a copy of that and then put in what is applicable to your school district. Last, you have a copy of the survey there, so please let us know how we can help you through your Screencastify journey. I am also putting in my email address. I know we covered a ton of material today on this Tuesday afternoon, so if you missed something, I apologize for the sharing issues as well. But please don't hesitate to reach out with a question. Or, if you just want to kind of kind of brainstorm how Screencastify can help you with your professional development in your district, we'd be glad to go over that with you. And I'm also going to put support at Screencastify as well in the chat. They are really helpful as well in terms of helping you with any technical issues as well. Well, with that being said, any final questions? So everybody has a copy of the one-page handout, and then you have a copy of the survey as well. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you learned something. And then how often are the videos in the library updated? Sarah, if you're talking about the premium library, they are kind of constantly updated. You know, I've never had an experience where it's like just kind of the canned same results all the time. I don't know the exact time frame, how often they're updated, but yes, they are pulling from the variety of channels that you see in that premium library. So they are updated quite often. I could check with support staff to get an accurate time for you, but yes, they are updated quite frequently. Great question. Anybody else with a question? Well, I want to thank everybody for taking some time learning about Screencastify. And I like that suggestion, Sarah, as well. Yeah, it would be cool. That way you kind of know how often you're seeing that video. I am going to forward that, jot that down and forward over to support. Thank you. Being able to see the date of with your search in Premium Library. Great. Well, once again, thank you, everybody. And I wish you the best of luck in wrapping up this school year, but also planning your professional development for next year. Once again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.